Quick timeline of Malaysia's history. Malaysia, located in the heart of Southeast Asia, has a history shaped by waves of migration, trade, colonization, and cultural exchange. From its earliest human settlements to the modern-day federation, the story of Malaysia is one of resilience, diversity, and transformation. This quick timeline traces the major periods of Malaysia's past, highlighting how local traditions, foreign influences, and global forces merged to create the country we know today. The earliest chapters of Malaysia's history begin with prehistoric humans who settled in the Malay Peninsula and Borneo tens of thousands of years ago. Archaeological findings in sites such as Naya Cave in Sarawak and Lenggong Valley in Perak provide evidence of human activity dating back around 40,000 years. Stone tools, cave paintings, and skeletal remains suggest that early hunter-gatherers lived off the land, relying on forests, rivers, and the sea for survival. By the Neolithic period, around 3000 BCE, communities began practicing agriculture, pottery making, and animal domestication. Settlers likely migrated from southern China and Taiwan, bringing with them Austronesian languages that would eventually evolve into Malay and other regional tongues. This laid the cultural and linguistic foundations of Malaysia's future. The rise of early kingdoms and Indian influence, 1st to 8th century CE. From the first millennium CE, the Malay Peninsula and Borneo became linked to the wider world through trade networks across the Indian Ocean. Traders from India, China, and the Middle East passed through the Malacca Strait, one of the busiest maritime routes. Indian traders and priests introduced Hinduism, Buddhism, and Sanskrit. Local chiefs adopted Indian titles like Raja, and Indian epics such as the Ramayana and Mahabharata influenced local art, architecture, and governance. Temples such as the ruins in Kedah in Bujang Valley reflect these cultural exchanges. Several early kingdoms rose during this era. Langkasuka, 2nd to 6th century CE. Based in present-day Kedah, it was among the earliest Malay Hindu-Buddhist states. Srivijaya, 7th to 13th century CE. A powerful maritime empire centered in Sumatra that extended its influence over much of the Malay Peninsula. Srivijaya thrived on trade, controlling the Malacca and Sunda Straits, and fostered Buddhist learning. These early states show how Malaysia's geography made it a hub of cultural fusion, especially between Indian and indigenous traditions. The coming of Islam in the Age of Malacca, 12th to 16th century. Islam arrived in the Malay world gradually, carried by Arab, Persian, and Indian Muslim traders from the 12th century onward. Coastal communities embraced Islam not only for its spiritual teachings, but also for the commercial advantages of aligning with Muslim merchants. The turning point came with the rise of the Malacca Sultanate in the early 15th century. Founded by Parameswara, a prince from Palembang, Malacca transformed from a fishing village into one of the most important trading ports in Asia. By the mid-1400s, Malacca had become a cosmopolitan city where merchants from China, India, Arabia, and Europe exchanged spices, silk, and precious metals. The rulers of Malacca embraced Islam, and under Sultan Mansur Shah, R. 1459 to 1477, the Sultanate became the center of Malay Islamic civilization. Malacca developed a legal system based on Islamic law, Undang-Undang Malacca, and spread Islam across the region. Malay became the lingua franca of trade, enriched with Arabic and Persian vocabulary. Malacca's importance was not only commercial, but also cultural. It became the cradle of Malay literature, arts, and governance traditions that still influence Malaysia today. The prosperity of Malacca drew the attention of European powers seeking control of the spice trade. In 1511, the Portuguese, led by Afonso de Albuquerque, captured Malacca. This marked the start of over 400 years of European involvement in Malaysia. Portuguese rule, 1511 to 1641. The Portuguese fortified Malacca and attempted to monopolize trade, but they faced constant resistance from Malay sultans and rival regional powers. Though their influence was limited outside Malacca, they left behind cultural traces such as architectural styles, cuisine, and loanwords in Malay. In 1641, the Dutch, allied with the Johor Sultanate, took Malacca from the Portuguese. While they prioritized Batavia, Jakarta, as their main base, the Dutch maintained Malacca as a strategic outpost. Their main legacy in Malaysia lies in architecture and some administrative practices. British entry, 18th to 19th century. The British arrived in the late 18th century, drawn by strategic and economic opportunities. Francis Light established Penang in 1786, followed by